Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Pleased to be joining you. Got another great show lined up for you today. Sean Roberts will join us here momentarily. Sean is with KXNO in Des Moines, and I'll let Sean fill in all the blanks. But as always, you'll see all of our guests' name and information at the bottom of the screen, along with mine throughout the show, with social media handles and that type of stuff. So you can see all the links to all of our guests' great work that they do. And then after Sean, we're going to talk to Sean for two segments. He's kind enough to join us. We're going to talk Hawkeye football. And Sean has a unique perspective on Ben McCollum and Hawkeye basketball because Sean is the in-game PA for Drake Bulldogs men's basketball. So, and he's got a nice relationship going with Ben McCollum. So we want to get all the insights we can preseason here. And then after Sean, for those first two segments, we'll close out the show in our sports betting segment with our good buddies at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Our production partners, James Seils, will be joining me to close out talking Hawkeyes and Hoosiers. Where do you sit on that game? Line is all over the map. Sean, first and foremost, thanks for joining us. Secondly, it's great to meet you, kind of, via Zoom. But right after your shows, we record this on Tuesday afternoon, September 23rd, late in the afternoon. Big doings in Hawkeye land this weekend. Kinnick Stadium, 2:30 kick, and get your Peacock passwords ready, folks, or buddy up with somebody who has a password, because this game's on Peacock. Homecoming game, 2:30 kick from Kinnick. Sean, the number 9, or we'll say top 10 rank, depending what poll you look at. But Hoosiers are coming in breathing fire, aren't they?
Yeah, and Dave, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to join you. And yeah, you're 100% correct. This is an absolute massive matchup, as you can imagine. Anytime you get a top 10 team that comes to Iowa City, or even a top 25 team that comes to Iowa City, whether Iowa's ranked or not, it's going to be big. And so we're going to get that at 2:30 this Saturday in Iowa City. And man, this Indiana team, you talked about breathe fire. I don't think it gets any better than what they accomplished against Illinois. They ran Illinois out of the entire stadium Saturday night. And I mean, that is the definition of a butt whooping. And so I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens to Iowa this weekend. I think that Iowa under Kirk Ferentz will be able to handle, hold their own against Indiana. I haven't thought of a prediction yet of where I'm at. I kind of wait till the end of the week and I see what everything from a roster standpoint is looking like and all that. But it's going to be a hell of a game Saturday.
Oh, agreed. And again, likewise back to you. You're welcome, and thank you for joining us. I look forward to many shows of doing this with you, because you're at the Pulse doing a statewide show, but based in Des Moines. So all your callers, and I'm just curious of all the fans' perspective after the game on Saturday. We'll see how it shakes out. I thought Illinois was a little overranked, in my opinion. Nobody asked me, but I'm telling you, unsolicited. So they got it handed to them 63-10. I didn't think they were that overrated. Holy smokes. But the interesting thing to what you said, Sean, and a couple of other points I made earlier, a lot of people want to say, hey, look out for Mendoza. They chucked the ball all over the yard. Yes, but no. They also run the ball very effectively.
Yeah, and talking about Mendoza, who is now the Heisman frontrunner, because we got the news earlier today that John Mateer is going to be out for probably a month at the University of Oklahoma. And so John Mateer being out, now Mendoza goes into being the Heisman frontrunner. The way he performed against Illinois he played a great game, right? I think when you look at this matchup between Iowa and Indiana, I think what I want to see Iowa do, because what you saw Rutgers do, right? Rutgers in that first half of the game, they felt like they could do whatever they wanted offensively. They were throwing the ball, this and that. A lot of those were quick passes, right? So if you are able to, what I want to see, and my co-host Lucas Strain, who I do my show with every week, he talked about this when we were recapping the Iowa game. What we want to see this team do defensively, get up and jam these receivers at the line of scrimmage. Don't play so much back, because when you do that, that's when you get the little drag routes, the slant passes, all that stuff. And a team like Indiana is going to take massive advantage of that, and they're going to be able to pick apart your defense if you're not ready. If you look at the Illinois game, I know they had some big plays, but what Mendoza does really good is the RPO game, right? The RPO game. And so for Iowa to be able to control that, you got to get up close. You can't play off the ball if you're cornerbacks, because you're just inviting it, right? You're inviting the quick passes, you're inviting all that. As far as the run game, I think Iowa's going to be able to stop the run. I think if they're committed to it, I think they will be able to stop the run. The huge thing for me, again, I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about the run game. I want to see how they're able to get pressure on Mendoza, and can those cornerbacks who tail of two halves when it came to the Rutgers game. First half, they looked very exposed, but Phil Parker and Kirk Ferentz, they made the adjustments at halftime. Second half, they played a lot better from a secondary standpoint. So I want to see them be able to do that against Indiana.
Talk about your thoughts on KF and what he has brought to this program at Iowa.
I think when you look at Kirk Ferentz, I mean, he's an absolute legend. I think it's pretty obvious what you're going to get year in and year out, and you bring up the stability standpoint. It's funny, Dave. I've been on the airwaves here for a little over 10 years, and the same thing happens every single year. Iowa loses their first game. They don't look good doing it, right? Offensively, they look bad. The phone calls come in, the tweets come in, games pass Kirk Ferentz by. It's time to move on from Kirk and this and that. And it's the same thing, right? And then either the next week or somewhere down the line in the season, he has an emotional win, whether it's a historical win like the one against UMass, or it's a big win against a ranked opponent. And Kirk Ferentz gets emotional post-game, gets his little waterworks or whatever the case is. Or you get the video from the social media team. He's in the locker room and the players are all around him, right? And then you get the phone calls and you get the tweets of, I don't want another man coaching my Iowa Hawkeyes, right? It's the same thing every year. Everyone wants to overreact to the loss, but then you realize why you like him so much as a head coach. And the stability aspect, when you look at college football in 2025, Oklahoma State firing Mike Gundy today. Luke Fickell from Wisconsin is scorching hot on the hot seat right now. And Wisconsin can kind of be a prime example of, it might not be always greener on the other side when you look at the flashy things, right? Luke Fickell comes from Cincinnati at the time, where Cincinnati was in the CFP. They're doing all these great things. You come to Wisconsin, he's the hot name, right? He was the number one coaching candidate on the market at that point. Guy was rumored to go to Notre Dame and all these things, goes to Wisconsin. And now 3-4 years later, you look at Wisconsin and they're an absolute dumpster fire. So sometimes you have to appreciate what you have. And I think Iowa fans truly deep down appreciate what they have under Kirk Ferentz. But I know that next loss, it's going to happen again, right? It happens all the time. So, and then they'll have an emotional win later on in the season, or they'll get an upset win against Penn State or Oregon, and everyone's like, that's my head coach. So it happens all the time.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, I keep forgetting, you're a Chicago native, but you've been on the airwaves. You've been in Iowa for 10 years. So become an Iowan in status for sure, Sean. And I think the other intriguing thing, what you said about Fickell, remember he had that when he filled in for Urban Meyer when he was suspended at Ohio State. Then he's going to be anointed. Well, no, he left Ohio State and took that Cincinnati job, as you mentioned. And then yep. Ryan Day goes in right after Urban Meyer left. So, Luke's had some interesting timing, but you're exactly right. There's no hotter seat now that Mike Gundy's gone from Oklahoma State. No hotter seat in college football than Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, that's for sure. And I'm certain we're going to hear all about that during bye week when the Hawks get done with this Indiana game. They'll have a bye week to get ready for the Badgers in Madtown upcoming. But Don, let's take a quick pause. We've talked some football, but I am excited as well to talk to you about some Ben McCollum and Hawkeye basketball. And he is Sean Roberts, folks, right there, Des Moines Talk Radio host at KXNO, and kind enough to join us. Sean, also the program director there, and an in-game voice for the Drake Bulldogs. So Sean has some insights and a very good relationship with Ben McCollum. So I'm very much looking forward to talking to Sean about that. Sean, thank you so much for this first segment. You ready to go for another one?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Can't wait. Folks, there he is, Sean Roberts. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
Hawkeye is brought to you by BettorEdge, your ultimate social betting marketplace. With no VIG, you're bound to win more on every bet on BettorEdge. Founded by Hawkeye alum James Seils and proud Iowan Greg Kieski, BettorEdge delivers an unmatched betting experience. Plus, what's not to love when they're committed to supporting charities and children's hospitals near you? Join the action now. Sign up at bettoredge.com/Hawkeye and get $10 to start winning more today. BettorEdge, where your social betting means your bets go further and you win more.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Pleased to have Sean Roberts stay over for a second segment, and you'll see Sean on the screen momentarily. Upcoming after Sean and I do these first two segments, we'll be talking with For the third and final segment, our sports betting segment, James Seils at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Want to let you folks know as well, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, late afternoon on September 23rd, after the Hawks presser today with Kirk Ferentz and the players in the morning, KF usually in the afternoon. John, it has been great talking Hawkeye football with you, but now that we've got you to hold over, and thanks again for agreeing to stay for a second segment. Always appreciate your time. You got a little guy at home now, you and your wife. Welcome to Sun, a couple months ago. So I was going to ask you what you do with your free time, but you don't have any now. I know that. So let's you and I talk some Hawkeye basketball. You've got a relationship and know Ben McCollum for the last year. You're the in-game voice for the Drake Bulldogs, again, besides being an afternoon host at Des Moines KXNO. And so you've got Iowa and the Hawkeyes covered well with your listeners and other things going on. There are a couple other universities in the state I won't mention right now that I'm sure you cover as well. But let's talk some Hawkeye men's basketball, Sean, and I'm excited for this reason. With the type of player Ben McCollum brings in, and I've been told, hey, Dave, you're going to have to play defense. Yeah, they have a nice offense and they can highlight certain players, and Bennett Sturts is the real deal. So I want you to talk a little bit about Bennett. I'm going to throw a lot at you here. But Bennett, Coach McCollum, I'm excited for Cooper Koch, who was injured all last year, and the lone holdover from Fran McCaffrey's teams. And I've had J.R. Koch on this show, Cooper's dad, and a former Hawkeye great in his own right, and an NBA draft pick. But let's talk a little bit about some of the players besides Ben McCollum. Let's start with Ben and then talk about some players. Please, if you would, Sean.
Yeah, Bennett Sturts, man, what a, the cliches of, great kid, hard worker. Bennett Sturts is that, man. I've had the opportunity to get to know him over the last year while he was here at Drake, and I've interviewed him. He's been on, my show a few times, and just such a happy-go-lucky kid, but also when he gets on the basketball court, like a switch flips, right? Like he's got that killer instinct, that you're looking for. I mean, I can reference so many games where Bennett just kind of took over, and I can reference, the game against Kansas State last year down in Kansas City, where Drake cut, they have a big lead. Kansas State comes back, right? And then Bennett just kind of takes over, gets a game-winning shot, and he's just got this killer mentality. Where it just comes kind of from out of nowhere. And then you talk to him off the court and he's like, hey, Sean, it's Bennett Sturts. And he's just this happy guy, man. And no, he's an incredible human being and an incredible basketball player. Sad to see him go here at Drake, right? And what I do over there, but happy he stayed in the state and he's going to be playing for Coach McCollum. But yeah, you get Bennett Sturts and Cam Minyao. You got Combs over there. So many really, really good basketball players that left with Drake to go over to Iowa. And I think what you're going to see is these guys, they know the system. They're all bought in. If you're going to play for Ben McCollum, from what I learned over the last year, you have completely bought into the system, because you're not just going to come over to play for Ben McCollum and say, I'm a basketball star and that's what I'm going to do. There's none of that. You are all bought in. Right. And you're going to do what Coach McCollum is wanting you to do, or you're not going to play. It's just that simple. But a lot of those guys that are coming over there are hard workers, man. I've seen it firsthand. And so sad to see them go, but also happy that they're going to be in the state. I'm still going to be able to follow them and watch them play. So
you talked about on FryFest, Ben was walking through Coach McCollum, and I'm sure you saw it on social media, game one against UAlbany. He's walking through the student section like he's running for office, and everybody's taking selfies with him. And you saw his introductory presser when he came to Iowa, and he ran through kind of a tunnel, a human-made tunnel with the students leading into Carver Hawkeye Arena. You talk about a man of the people. I find him to be a great people person, and he's making, striking all the right notes, Sean, earlier here. But watching him go through the student section at the first game at Kinnick was awesome to see. And it wasn't just students, but a lot of adults too, wanting to take selfies with him. And he was very giving of his time for that. But he stopped and talked to you at FryFest and said, hey, remembered you, and came out, and said, hey, not remembered you, because obviously you spent a year with him, working with him at Drake. But what I found fascinating was he immediately went to you and said, hey, I want to talk to you. When you sat and talked, when he sat and talked with you, what are some of your takeaways? Of course, we know on the surface he seems very happy. He's an Iowa native. Obviously, is a Hawkeye lifer through and through. His mom went to school, got her advanced degree from Iowa. So, I mean, he was born in Iowa City, then moved to North Central Iowa and was raised there. But this is a Hawkeye through and through, and he's got great Hawkeye history in his mind and running through his blood. So, what were some of your takeaways from him? How does he seem to have been adjusted when you talked to him at Fry Fest?
Yeah, it's funny because we did our show out at Fry Fest, and we were getting towards, like, we had like 30 minutes left in our show, and over walks Beth Getz, and there's Ben McCollum, and right away, like, we're on the air, and the my co-host Lucas goes, "Hey, there's Coach McCollum, go grab him." I'm like, "I got to bring us back from break. I can't." He's like, "Go get him, go get him." So as soon as I stood up and I walked over there, and Ben McCollum came over, we dapped up, right? Like, we did, we gave each other a hug, and he came on my show and he's like, "I would have done this for anybody else, but with Sean, I gotta, come and talk to him." And it's been fun to get to know him over the last year, and obviously his time at Drake and getting to know him. And you're right, he's firing on all cylinders when it comes to the political aspect, right? And being a man of the people. But it's one of the things I've had the opportunity to talk to Beth Getz, and it's one of the things that when Beth was looking for a head coach, she said to me, we want someone that wants to be out in the community. We want someone that wants to be, they want to be the CEO. They want to talk to the fans, and Ben McCollum is doing that, and you're seeing it firsthand, whether he's at football games or he's getting on stage with the new freshmen that are there, and just everything that he does. And I think he's in a really good spot, and he's one of the best guys that I've ever come in contact with, and I could say that for a lot of people that I've talked to, because we have great people that work in the state, but Ben McCollum's definitely someone like that. And it's funny, I talked about Bennett Sturts, and like, there's that flip of the switch. I can't wait for Iowa fans, if they didn't watch what he was able to do at Drake, I can't wait for Iowa fans to take it in firsthand in Iowa City, because, man, during a basketball game, you see a dude that wears his emotions on his sleeve, and if his team is not doing what he wants them to do, he's going to let you know about it. He's going to let the players know about it as well. He's big into, as we all know, he wears a tie, right? He wears a dress shirt. He's got the dress pants. He's got the dress shoes, and when those dress shoes are stomping on the floor or on the sideline, you're going to know that stuff was going not the way he wanted it to. But great guy, and I couldn't be more happy for him.
I love that you brought that up, because yes, he has the business attire. Most coaches now going casual or wearing sweatsuits and tennis shoes, basketball shoes. But I guess he'll trade in that blue tie from Drake for a gold tie for the Hawkeyes, and rolls up the sleeves of the Oxford shirt and this dress slacks, like you said, and the dress shoes. I look forward to getting together with you again in a couple of weeks, if that works in your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. This has been a pleasure. Happy to do
Really,
it.
yeah, same here, and thank you for that. Sean, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks then. So for Sean Roberts, I'm Dave O'Hara on Hawkeye. Sean, of course, again, afternoon host at KXNO in Des Moines, and also the in-game voice, PA, for the Drake Bulldogs. Sean, kind enough to join us for 2 segments today, so thanks again to Sean Roberts. We'll be back with more Hawkeye, to meet Dave O'Hara, and to close out the show in our sports betting segment with James Seils at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Back with more Hawkeye in just a few moments.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman from Mershman Seeds. Substitutions cost you money. Why take their seconds when you can have our first choice? Here's Ben Pieper to tell you more about Mershman Power Core Enlist corn.
We are way ahead of Big Seed on this one. This corn has 4 different post-herbicide tolerances, multiple modes of action for above-ground pests, and it is some of the highest-yielding corn genetics that are out on the market today.
If you're one of the many that got substituted on your corn hybrid last spring, contact your local Mershman Seeds dealer today and ask them about Power Core Enlist corn. From Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Momentarily, you'll see my good buddy James Seils joining us. James, of course, the other half of my buddies at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Greg Kieski and, of course, James Seils. So talk to us a little bit about Indiana and Iowa this weekend. But first of all, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you. It's been a while, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Dave. It's always fun to come on and talk shop. And this game coming up this weekend, I think it's changed a lot. I would say before that Illinois game, I think a lot of people had this as a, maybe a pick 'em game, maybe a slight dog for Iowa. And then since that game, I think the line has shifted almost 5, 6 points already. So yeah, I don't know. It's like you look at Illinois' schedule. Who did they play? They played Duke. Duke hasn't played great in their games, and then you look at Illinois. They really haven't played anyone. So it's still early in the year to know whether that Indiana win on Saturday was truly in Indiana being looking like a top 5 team in the country versus maybe just a down Illinois team during that time. But yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of excited that we get Indiana after that. I think it's kind of hard for college students to get up for another game after that much of an emotional game there. So hopefully we get them in a good spot here.
Would you educate the uninitiated, please, and let us know about your flash markets, please, James?
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So really, it's really any custom market you can create. So if you think of like the Iowa Indiana game, let's say, you're not beholden to what we create in the app, right? So, we have markets on spread, total, winner, player props, all of those fun things. But flash markets can be anything custom. So if you've got a group text that's all doing a bags game at the tailgate lot, you can actually set up a market and have people bet on who's going to win your bags game. And so it's not beholden to the lines we create. You can create your own custom markets and have people bet on them. And so we provide a lot of them. We usually do them around some fun props around games, first score, first offensive play, some fun little prop ones we use flash markets for. But really the way they work, it's a pari-mutuel style betting. So you put a question out there, you might have 4 options. If a lot of the money comes in on option A, but you're on option C, you're going to get a bigger payout because less people picked the winning option and you took the whole pot. And so it operates a lot like horse racing. So if you pick a long shot, you're going to get paid a lot more than if you pick the same horse that everyone else is picking. So it's been fun. Yeah, we launched early, right at this football season, and then we've just started launching the true custom ones where you can go in and create your own. And so if you get in the app, you'll see the nice wizards and walkthroughs to help you actually create those and share them with your group texts or your buddies or your college buddies.
That's fantastic because, yeah, Greg and I talked pre-launch and now it's actually in operation. So very cool. And the other thing I love is you mentioned props. And of course, the NFL rosters are full of former Hawkeyes. So you got the prop bets. You can bet on skill position players. Just remember, viewers, George Kittle's still out for the next couple of weeks with an injury, but Sam Laporta is still doing very well. So a lot of the skill position players, former Hawkeyes, make sure to take advantage of that and some of the props on the sides. Also, in-game betting is still very huge, James. And again, if in the moment as it's happening, that's the thing I love about that. It's very interactive, and I know everybody offers that, but I love the fact with you guys, again, you can create your own bet. That's the difference in the caveat I find with what you guys at BettorEdge are offering compared to a book, and not to slight anybody else, but that's a huge advantage when you can create your own in-game action.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just look at what the fees are on those different styles of bets, so you're just straight bet, it's around 5-6%. Your player props can get up to 10. Your in-game betting is 10 to 15% fees, and then your parlays get all the way up to 30% with same game parlays. On our platform, since you're creating it, and since it's between 2 people or multiple people, we don't need to charge those massive fees. And so you save a ton of money doing the in-game betting through our flash markets and stuff compared to what you would get on a different platform.
And this is what I love. Fantastic. James, I always feel smarter after talking to you and at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Always appreciate the conversation with you, and we'll make it happen sooner than later. We had a lot of summer repeats and now just getting back into the flow with our 4th or 5th show after break. So definitely want to continue this conversation the next time we talk. And Hawks have a bye after this week, so rest up and get ready, but we'll be talking to you soon. James Seils, co-founder and partner with my buddy Greg Kajewski at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. James, my friend, it is always great to talk with you and great to see you again. You take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dave. I was just going to say we should have one up there for Caden Weegan kick return for a touchdown, because the odds of that are going to be are getting much better and better and better every week. I feel like he's going to be returning one every week, so.
I love it. I'm glad you mentioned that. And hey, by the way, the only Hawkeye in history, or at least they haven't found, they're still digging, my buddies in the sports information department for the Hawkeyes, only player in Hawkeye history with a rushing, receiving, punt return, and kick return for a touchdown. We're talking the company of guys like Tim Dwight haven't done that. So Caden Weegan has. Great point. I'm glad you added that at the end. So get ready for that. Caden Weegan, great point, James. Will he return a kick? Punt or kickoff, right?
Yeah, and you know that later in the year, if we get in a blowout game, Tim Lester's definitely going to draw up a passing touchdown opportunity for him. So
Absolutely. And that end sweep or double reverse they do, he's going to run one in too. So, James, letting his true colors show. Hawkeye alum and a native Iowan and a Tippy Business School grad as well from University of Iowa at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. James, my friend, it's always great to talk to you. Great to see you. And we'll talk again soon.
thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you. For James Seils and Sean Roberts, and to my other production partner besides James Seils, Greg Kajewski at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. And to you, the viewers, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. That's all from me. Thanks to all of you.